He passed away in Shawwal of 10,014 Hijri, 1014, just after the millennium. He passed away in 1014, which is 1606, in Makkah Mukarramah, and he's buried in the Jannatul Mu'allat. In some, they've even given a description, and for those who may want to go and look for his grave, there are descriptions as well for that. I'm just going to quickly go through, just to relate it to what we're speaking about here. You've got the 40 hadith collections. The 40 hadith collection that we'll be speaking about today, Sheikh Khalid will be speaking about, and that's available behind, is his collection on it's a collection of 40 hadith on the Quran. And when I read that work, when it was in production, I was just amazed by the collection, because the different ahadith that he's collected together, he's formed a very comprehensive collection that gives you a very good understanding of the benefit of hifz of the Quran, the benefit of really pondering over the Quran. And I think that's something, if we can say that the majority of us sitting here are from the Indo-Pak subcontinent, right? One thing that majority of us are deprived of is actually understanding the Quran directly in its original form. And I think it's something that we need to start at some level. Seriously, because you really cannot appreciate the Quran without that. It is extremely important, and it's not something that's beyond one's ability. I know a number of people who've been able to do that. Right? One mustn't fear that if you start learning a bit of Arabic, you'll start giving fatwas. I've seen numerous people who actually learn Arabic, and it makes them more humble, because then it really gives them an understanding of what true scholarship is all about. Because that's when they really understand the difficulty in understanding it. There is this kind of misunderstanding or misconception among our people, that if you learn a bit of Arabic, then you'll become a kind of a loose scholar or something. That's not very true. You have loose aspiring scholars who are kind of become a bit notorious here and there, but that's not because they learn Arabic. That's just because of who they are, right? So one must not become deprived of this. And seriously, it's something that one really needs to focus on. He's got a number of other collections, Arba'in collections. I'm going to mention them because I know Brother Yahya is sitting here from Turath, just to give him ideas. And there's also other books that I want to point out. Some of his books, many of Mulla Ali al-Qari's books have been published, but there's a few that I find very interesting, and if somebody can actually work on them, that would be great. He's got another 40 hadith collection on marriage, on nikah, right? Just in case you knew or you didn't know, I don't know. And then there's another 40 hadith collection on hadith al-Qudsiyya, the hadith, the divine narrations, if you want to call them that. He's got a number of books on mawdu'at, or fabricated narrations, or narrations that are popularly known by people but are not necessarily very strong or very authentic. So he's written a number of books on that, al-Masnu', then he's got al-Asrar al-Marfu'a fi al-Akhbar al-Mawdu'a, al-Azhar al-Manthura fi al-Ahadith al-Mashhura. He's got a number of books on that subject. The two books, one is Mirqat, which is a commentary of Mishkat, which is already published and it's used widely. There is a book called al-Qari, Sharh Sahih al-Bukhari. I don't think it's been published, but that would be very interesting, because that's a commentary of Bukhari. There's also a commentary of Muslim that's ascribed to him, the Sharh Jami' Sahih Muslim. That would be very interesting as well. Then he's got a Sharh of the Musnad of Imam Abu Hanifa. And then he's got other books on usul. And then he's got a tafsir of the Quran that I don't think has been published, in 3 volumes. So you're talking about some big majestic works on different sciences, not just one subject. And then you've got another part that he really focused on. One book of his is extremely popular in that regard, are litanies. Awrad, books that, collections of adhkar and remembrances and du'as and supplications. One, Al-Hizb al-A'zam, which I'm sure many of you know about. That's Mulla Ali al-Qari's work. He's also actually got a commentary on the Hizb al-Bahr of Ash-Shadhili. Then he's got a number of books on the seerah. Then he's got a number of books on commentary and poetry. So again, for Yahya, he's got a Zubda fi Sharh al-Burda. He's got a commentary of Burda, and according to Kashf al-Dhunun, according to Haji Khalifa, hiya min ahsani shuruhiha. Right? It's one of the best commentaries. Right? It's one of the most beautiful commentaries of it. Then he's got a commentary on the Banat Su'ad, another famous poem. And then he's got a he's got a sharh, a commentary on Ihya Ulumuddin. I mean, that's a vast book. He's got a commentary on that, and then he's got what some would consider a summary of it, which is called the Ayn al-Ilm, Sharh Ayn al-Ilm wa Zayn al-Hilm. That's another book. He's got books on fiqh, the Fathu Bab al-Inaya. Then he's got books on theology, Minah al-Rawd al-Azhar, which is the commentary on fiqh al-Akbar, Sharh Wasiyat al-Imam Abi Hanifa. Then he's got another one on a commentary on the Bad al-Amali, which is a poem in Aqidah, Maturidi Aqidah. And then he's got a number of other books. In fact, and I'm trying to get hold of this book, he wrote on very specific subjects. He wrote on the Easter egg, which is kind of very interesting, because just the other day, I went to a store and they said that, if you find the egg, then you'll get a prize or something. And I was just thinking, how would that be in terms of an Islamic perspective, looking for an egg and so on. And he's actually got a book, because there's some people who came from the Christian lands, and they brought this up to him, and he wrote this book on the whole concept of the Easter egg and the Nasara and so on and so forth. So he wrote on some of the very particular subjects. We don't have time to go into all of them, but just to give you another idea is that he talked about the asa, for example, or that it's a sunnah of the anbiya. So he wrote on various different things. Very multifaceted scholar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to benefit from his works, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to produce others that are like him to deal with many of the contemporary and later challenges. Wa akhiru da'wana anna alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.